and I kind of like that thing is that ki meri maa is disappointed by my work.
This is beautiful. That's great wording.
Yeah. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the latest episode of the Radical Measures podcast. As promised, we have gotten somebody young and talented again, because I know a lot of talented young people. This fellow, Mr. Divya Kharnare, very talented filmmaker. He has come out with a film, 15 Seconds, A Lifetime, and it is doing the rounds of multiple festivals. The moment I saw that, you have to know that I have seen two phases of Divya Kharnare. Okay, the phase where he had absolutely no idea what he wanted to do, and the phase where he found it and he's killing it. All right. So please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Mr. Divya Kharnare, celebrated filmmaker, future of this country's films. I'm telling you.
Oh,
His film 15 Seconds a Lifetime is on Instagram. You can check it out as well. The poster, content about it, the trailer, it is doing the rounds. Will we ever see it?
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
If it finds distribution in India, hopefully.
That is it. This is the place where we give a shout out, okay? Like anybody who's interested, please do get in touch with him and distribute this film, dude. It's made very, very well. You'll see the poster here. We'll find it and you'll see it on the screen now. Yeah. Welcome, Divya. I'm
Thank
so
you.
excited to have you here, man.
Thank you so much.
Really excited.
तूने ज़्यादा ही pressure डाल दिया अभी future of Indian cinema.
Yeah. See, I am hedging my future. You're not understanding. I'm like, मैं बोला था, पहले ही बोला था. You know, I'm creating that moment. मैं बोला था पहले.
He wants to be Elon Musk of creative India.
Yeah. A fellow at a very young age decide to be a filmmaker because it's a very uncertain thing to say at home.
Yeah.
You know, so when you ended up saying that, like, you know, कि मैं filmmaker बनने का इस पे काम कर रहा है वगैरह whatnot, what was the reaction?
घर
Like,
पे?
हाँ, like,
यार it's been honestly it's been really supportive यार. मतलब
Yeah?
मेरे घर पे कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. मतलब मैं इसके लिए बोलता हूँ ना कि the kind of one of the major aspects has been my parents, my support from my parents. It's like they have never asked me, they have never questioned. Yeah, there's that uncertainty. My mother, मतलब my mother is tensed कि यार इसका क्या होगा, इसका ये छोटा सा बच्चा है, क्या होगा, ये क्या करेगा, ऐसा वगैरह. कुछ सीखा भी नहीं है इसके बारे में और कैसे होगा, which is fair enough because हमारे फैमिली में से कोई भी इस फील्ड में नहीं है and both of my parents come from a medical background. So therefore, but the support they have kind of given, they have never stopped me. Like one of my entry points into this field was after I joined, when I was in 11th standard and I joined the cultural competitions and the theatre and वो सारी चीज़ें मैं कॉलेज में करने लग गया. So they never restricted me because I used to go at morning in the 7 and come back at 10 in the night. And they never asked me ki why are you going out and what is this you are doing. So they are very clear. They are just like कि अभी जो भी करोगे अभी तुमने चूज तो कर लिया है, अभी जो भी करोगे वो ऑनेस्टी के साथ करो एंड डू योर गिव इट योर बेस्ट एंड ट्राई योर बेस्ट. यू नो द पर्क्स ऑफ इट, यू नो मतलब अगर तू बड़ा हो गया तो तू बहुत बड़ा हो जाएगा, अगर बड़ा नहीं हुआ तो बहुत मतलब किधर भी नहीं रहेगा. तो वो फैक्ट को फेस करने को बस तू रह जा. But they have kind of really supported me. Like one of the major things I've been able to make this film is also because of the support of them and the environment they kind of give me at home. They are never kind of questioning me of why you are doing this. और उनके मन में होंगे शायद सवाल, पर वो मुझे कभी ऐसे बोलते नहीं है कि तू ये क्यों कर रहा है, क्या होगा इससे वगैरह वगैरह. दे आर ऑलवेज काइंड ऑफ सपोर्टिव एंड दे मतलब उनका ऐसे कि and both my brother as well, they have always supported us and my brother's also been helpful to me because he kind of joined this media field and I got to know that this is something that I can also venture into. And he has been a constant support for me. So family wise to pura matlab I'll never say ki I have gone through struggles or whatever. Matlab there are problems that come while you make the film. But those are not those वो हर filmmaker के होंगे यार, हर creator के होते हैं. But as far support is concerned, they are like massive supporters of me. मतलब मेरा पूरा family, because they are also excited कि oh someone's doing.
They are like पहला टिकट प्लीज. रिलीज कब हो रहा है?
The best part is, you know, मतलब one of the major interesting points in my house is like recently I got मतलब 15 Seconds a Lifetime got covered by Hindu. Okay, The Hindu.
Yeah, you'll see it here. Yep.
Yeah. So we got covered by The Hindu, and I was like, "Ki, let's buy the newspaper and let's just see what it is like." So my father was he's the person who's kind of who will be very supportive and will be like, "Yo, very good beta, congratulations, वगैरह वगैरह." He'll send it to 10 different parents or 10 different friends of him. And tell them कि look, this is
parental flex.
वही,
मेरा बच्चा किया.
And complete opposite is my mother. She's like, क्यों भेज रहे हो तुम ये सब? And therefore some मतलब दूसरों को क्यों भेज रहे हो? Then she's like कि मैं नहीं भेजूंगी किसी को. जब कोई आके मुझे बताएगा तभी ही मैं बोलूंगी.
Why make such a big difference between the two? Arey Baba.
I think this is just something that the mom and dad years of marriage na ki like, no, I will disagree with you.
My approach is different, your approach is different.
I have to do the different approach. I'm balancing.
And that's really nice. Matlab, I think my mother should always be like that. It's because it just keeps me humble and just keeps me to the ground. And like वो मुझे अच्छा लगता है. मतलब if eventually if one of our major points is also like कि यार मुझे तुम लोग जो फिल्म बनाते हो पराग और चिराग मेरे घर पे ये बुलाते हैं. सो माय ब्रदर्स नेम इज पराग एंड आई एम चिराग. तो शी इज लाईक की यार तुम लोग जो बनाते हो ना ते मला काही कळत नाही. तर तुम्ही मला काही म्हणजे समजतच नाही काय झालं असं ह्याच्यामध्ये.
She doesn't get what the movie is.
So she doesn't get it. So and I am kind of like then my drive towards making sometimes a film is to मतलब हाँ to मतलब मेरी माँ को अगर अच्छा लगे तो then I made something really good because
हम लोग अपना ही ट्रिप पे ढूंढे फैमिली में ये ऐसा वो ऐसा.
This is something similar like this. Anne Lamott करके there is a writer who wrote this book called Bird by Bird, which is like which is one more book out of many that is like an advice book for writers. And one of the chapters she talks about is sometimes a book is just written for one person. Like like one of the books she wrote was for her dad. And because she was trying to convey something to her dad, that is why that honesty came in it flowed. The writing process was that much more easier. So like वो similarity मेरे को इसमें दिखा कि you're just trying to reach one person, and reaching that one person you express in such a way कि it becomes universal.
Yeah. So like मतलब and I kind of like that thing is that कि मेरी माँ is disappointed by my work.
This is beautiful. That's great wording.
Yeah. So it's just fun. मतलब I am just and because also she's in her post-retirement life. So it's also kind of fun to observe her and now how she reacts. And also what we have done is we have made her now start to watch all OTT shows. So she doesn't consume daily soap ka material.
Oh, so it's almost like you weaned her off.
Diet is different.
I kind of now the problem is any show comes up. She has already binged watched. मतलब उसने सब देख लिया है already.
What are the shows that like? What was the first show or so? What was this experiment like? First show जो क्या दिखाया? What was the thing that scandalized her the most, or what did she like?
I don't remember the shows, but the kind of shows she has enjoyed are most मतलब Rocket Boys हो गया. Then there is Scam 1992. That got into मतलब her a lot.
Then she liked that a lot.
Yeah, she enjoyed. She was like Harshad Mehta.
And I remember this. Yeah.
She's like अरे तो स्कॅम का नया सीझन आ रहा है. She's like अरे चिराग मी कुठेतरी त्याची अनाउन्समेंट बघितली. स्कॅमचा नवीन सीझन आहे ना, म्युझिक पण तसंच आहे काहीतरी. मी बघितलं.
She's excited for the second season.
And Ashram का season 1, season 2 and season 3. So what has happened now is at my home there is a proper theater setup. Like there's a projector, there's speakers and it's a proper setup. So जब भी मेरी माँ के 3 बहनें हैं. Okay. So whenever they come together, we kind of make them watch indie films and all the content-driven stuff. So they in 3 days they binge watched Ashram season 1, season 2 and season 3, all sisters. And उनको अब वो आदत हो गई है.
So it's like a viewing party.
Yeah. So now they actually consume good content. So that's really मतलब we have made that. Though कभी-कभार अभी मतलब उसको बीच में कुछ आदत नहीं थी. बट देन नाउ मतलब वो मौसी मतलब उनकी जो एक बहन है उन्होंने उनको आदत लगा दी है कि अभी एक कोई तो डेली सूप है सुंदर हमसे घर. Now she's addicted to that as well. She likes that daily soap only and the rest of the stuff is just OTT. She's excited. What new has come? Tell us.
It's like you took out a cigarette and gave an e-cigarette.
Vaping mom.
Vaping.
I have tried vaping.
She's like, oh, this flavor is also nice. Can we try grape flavor now?
Oh damn, dude.
I think the only time she's going to start applauding is when the Cannes Film Festival thing happens.
Huh.
No, I don't think that should. मतलब मेरे को लगता है कि
I know. But
I think it's like you're secretly saying as long as she disapproves.
Yeah.
That means
It's
I'm
great
breaking
I'm
some.
happy.
because that kind of keeps me driven towards.
Ha, that
making
means
stuff.
you're fine. You're looking for something.
Yeah.
new.
Yeah.
I've really liked the way you have approached the idea of making a film. You know, there is a very clear, distinct purpose for both of the works, one legit, which is made, and one not. So that was very exciting for me to see in a young person, because there is clarity of thought in terms of what you want to do. No, with 15 seconds a lifetime, of course, we will be speaking about social media. And as a comedian, I am slowly, and I think every comedian, anybody who is doing anything creative, undergoes their own process of understanding social media. You know, because you're, it's like you're stepping into the current of a river, and you don't know how strong, how fast, and you can't calculate. And so you have to always go one step till you're comfortable with it. Yeah. So with 15 seconds a lifetime, first of all, where did this idea start? Why did you want to focus on TikTok, an app which is now banned in India? No, and what made that switch happen for you?
Okay, so there were three different kind of ideas in my mind, and I was working with Bhadipa,
Yeah.
the regional YouTube channel,
Yeah.
and I had kind of learned some things from there, but I wanted to kind of do something different or try my hands at a longer format,
Yeah.
and which I did not have an opportunity, which is also fair enough.
Yeah.
And I want to try, मतलब मुझे खुद को try करके देखना था. So I was like, what all do I have? First of all, I saw the resources around me.
Yeah.
Because a filmmaker is known by his or her resources.
Yeah.
Because you have to keep in mind how much you have and what all
Yeah.
you can explore.
Okay.
अभी मैं जाके sci-fi बना दूंगा तो वो कुछ भी लग जाएगा.
औकात
घटिया.
क्या है
हाँ,
मेरा?
हाँ,
As
basically,
a filmmaker, मेरा क्या है औकात? That is the question.
Then the answer was no, nothing was my औकात.
There is nothing.
Nothing was my औकात. तो इसके लिए मैंने देखा मेरे पास एक कैमरा है,
हाँ.
एक माइक था, वो भी माइक मैंने मेरे लीड प्रोटैगनिस्ट से ही लिया.
Acha.
Acha.
Oh. So just to give context, the hero of your story, the protagonist of the story, is an aspiring TikTok influencer.
तो वो टिकटॉक इन्फ्लुएंसर होने से पहले
हाँ.
ही वाज इनटू व्लॉगिंग, तो उसके लिए उसने माइक लिया था.
अच्छा.
तो ही वाज लाइक, आई एम नॉट यूजिंग दिस माइक, यू आर मेकिंग द फिल्म, सो यू माइट
So you're making his vlog.
हाँ.
Wonderful.
तो मैंने उसका माइक भी ले लिया.
अरे वाह.
तो उसका कैमरा
हाँ.
और लीड प्रोटैगनिस्ट का
Mic.
माइक.
हाँ.
ठीक है.
Both audio and visual sorted.
Yeah.
Chalo.
Then what was very fascinating for me was like I wanted to try my hands at a longer thing, and that moment of time there was a screening I had attended, and that time I'd heard about TikTok on that screening.
Okay.
And I was like, let's go and just do some research. There's this idea I have in mind,
Okay.
and I went online, I researched about TikTok, and I got to know that there's a massive audience for it, and I don't know about it.
This is around which year?
This is 2019 September,
Huh,
October. I had watched
okay.
the film I had watched the screenings in September 2019, and from that point of time, that idea kind of
It took
started
root into
developing.
this.
Huh.
So then I researched for some time, and then I had already met Mayur. Like Mayur was a dropout from my college. Mayur was the protagonist and the subject of the film.
Yeah.
He was a dropout, and he was my senior in college.
Oh, okay.
And then in the third year we met together, and in the first 4 months we clicked very well as friends.
Okay.
I started to get to know his stories, he started to get to know my world, and I was very fascinated by his stories because of his father, his mother, and his brother. And I was like, I haven't seen this kind of a family ever,
Yeah.
and these type of stories I haven't heard. मुझे ये पता ही नहीं ये क्या है. And during उसके पहले उसने मुझे सब उसने सब बताने लग गया था. And after that, when I was researching, I was like, there were 2-3 ideas. First, it was I was going to follow 2 characters. Like it was
Okay.
this Mayur, and there was some other guy who was going to be in a 2-tier, 3-tier cities. Because during
Okay.
my research, what I discovered is that TikTok का जो major audience is, those are from 2 and 3 tier cities, and most of the people who are there on TikTok have a monthly annual income of 25,000 or less. Monthly income of 25,000 or less. So
through TikTok, or are you talking like
no,
general
through
Kajaka?
the research.
हाँ.
Through the research.
हाँ.
So matlab they don't earn the demographic. मतलब जो लोग
हाँ,
हैं
अच्छा,
उस
okay,
ऐप
okay,
पे
cool. हाँ.
उनका income 25,000
The
or
creators
less.
who
No,
are
not just the creators, the audiences as
the
well.
audience as well.
Yes.
अच्छा,
Okay,
okay.
okay.
Everyone. मतलब जो
So, a specific economic social strata of the society was the biggest consumer of this app, like participant, creator, all of it.
Yeah.
It existed in a specific ecosystem.
Yeah.
Damn.
So that was kind of one of my interest points as well. And then at the same time, I found Mayur. And I asked him, I pitched him this idea ki I have this thing in my mind, I have a story in my mind. And it's about TikTok, and it's about you starting TikTok and whether you will become a TikTok star or not.
Achha,
This was
okay.
it. So he had told me he was going to color his hair at some point of time in life.
Okay.
And I was like, dude, okay. So I have my start, I have my mid, and I have somewhat, the end will be decided.
Yeah.
It's like you just start with whatever you have.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I zeroed in on him, and then I started my film. And I was very fascinated by the world and the culture of TikTok videos because I had started to watch. And the first day I remember to the park that's shown in the film, it's called City Park, and it's in Bandra. So I visited that place and I was like, I don't know this world. I don't know this exists. That people, that 200, 300 people are coming at this park and shooting TikTok videos. And they are just kind of out and out doing it for the 15 seconds of fame.
Yeah.
Achha,
And that was my entry point. And then I visited the family. And usually what happens is in documentaries, it's very difficult to kind of get access to your subjects.
Yeah.
For me, the challenging part was to convince my main subject, my lead protagonist, which was Mayur.
Yeah.
He was kind of he wasn't believing in the idea for the first, because I had kind of pitched him that ye 3 mahine ka idea hai. Let's do it for 3 months and then we'll see.
Okay.
It's just a film that is there in my mind. We'll
Yeah.
shoot for 3 months and 3 months for post-production. 6 months we'll get the film completed.
Okay.
That was the initial idea. Then I started shooting, and on the first day of the shoot, I visit his family. I visit his house.
Yeah.
And they just opened up to me. And they were like real friends. Like his brother who was a 10th failure, वो वापस 10 दे रहा था, तो वो उसके बारे में बताने लग गया. And also everything was eventually related to his TikTok journey only, Mayur's.
Correct.
But I kind of was very friendly with his father, his mother and his brother. तो उनका मेरे साथ ज़्यादा अच्छा रैपो हो गया. And even now, what the scenario has become is I call them more than Mayur sometimes. And I मतलब now recently they moved out to a new house, to a मतलब पहले के घर से थोड़े बड़े घर में shift हुए. So I now visit their house. I visited it for their puja and stuff. So that is the kind of relation that eventually built.
Oh,
But I started it as a 6-month project. It then eventually took 2 years to kind of make it, because the point was ki the crew was very small. It was a 3-people crew, and we had a 77D and there was a shotgun basic mic. We did not have money at all. It was just कि हम वड़ा पाव बीच में खा लेंगे, वैसा वगैरह होगा. मैं पहले ही सबको बोल दिया था अभी पैसा नहीं है, अगर मिले तो बाद में तो ठीक है, नहीं मिले तो भी पता नहीं. So it was just also there was just this spirit and that drive to just make a film and just to see if we can make a longer format film. I wanted to also test my patience, my endurance and the persistence to make a film, because I also wanted to take those decisions if at all I can make longer format films.
So up until now you had made typically what were the durations of movies you had made?
Sketches.
I had made sketches with Bhadipa, some a music video or 2, short documentaries. It was like 10 minutes max.
Achha,
And this was thought to be a feature thing.
So you were thinking something like 60 to 90 minutes. वैसा type.
Yeah. So then that idea kind of began, and that 6-month journey turned into a 2-year-long journey. And a lot of people got in afterwards. Like we got the color grading done by Prithvi Buddhavarapu, who works at Bridge Postworks. It's like a big massive color grading studio, and they were really helpful for our film. And who supported us to like just make it at a minimal cost, because it was an independent film. Then like Hardik Mehta came on board as the producer for the film. He was there to like kind of champion the film, and he kind of made us believe that it's a good film.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
You don't need to.
So there's good validation also coming from someone credible.
Yeah. So he kind of gave us the resources and the money. Like after he came on board, आई थिंक लाइक मतलब पहले अगर मैं बोलूँ कि हमने अगर इतना गू खाया था तो उसने हमको थोड़ा साफ कराने में हेल्प कर दी. तो
That's a good producer. That is a good producer.
yeah,
That's
and he
a
was
sign.
really supportive. Like I haven't seen a producer who works on the subtitles of your film.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was that kind of a producer. Like he made us believe that why are the subtitles so necessary?
Just give us context. Hardik Mehta ka what other work has he done, just for the audience?
Yeah. So Hardik Mehta has basically produced a independent documentary called Ahmedabad Ma Famous. It received the national award. Then he has written and directed a film called Kamyab, which stars Sanjay Mishra, which was
this one,
presented by
okay.
Shah Rukh Khan.
Correct,
And
correct.
then also a Bollywood commercial film Ruhi, which stars Rajkumar
Oh,
Rao,
cool.
Janhvi Kapoor, and Varun Sharma.
Huh.
And then he also directed a Netflix series Decoupled, which stars R. Madhavan and Surveen
cool,
Chawla.
cool.
Yeah.
So that has he has done good amount of work.
Yeah, yeah.
And he kind of came on board and he gave us the resources and the kind of feedback and advices, and which was really helpful for the film. And then the film got elevated to what it is. We got to do the sound design properly. We got to do it in a studio. We got to the kind of music we had thought, the live recording, because we had thought to sound the film in a particular way. And there was there are these commercial craziness, मतलब जो commercial films में जैसे होता है वैसे ही हमारे documentary में भी बहुत सारे चीजें हैं. मतलब I'm not, because it's also like how you realize yourself as a person to be. So I've realized over a span of time that I'm not extremely artistically driven. I have my own instincts. I have my own kind of
एक voice के तरफ जा रहा है.
yeah. So then that was kind of the discovery. So through all those departments we got to work efficiently, and like then now what the film is. But it went through a lot of rejections. Like even after the film was made, most of the festivals have rejected it. They haven't liked it. Somewhat things have happened, and then eventually New York Indian Film Festival kind of picked it, and the world premiere happened over there.
अच्छा.
So it's been quite a long journey. And now we are looking forward towards the distribution in India and how it takes place.
Finding somebody. Yeah, so what I realized, and I think we've spoken about this before also, some ki you went from a less than skeleton crew, like unicellular crew. It was just you. I remember watching like I think वो जो बाल color कराने वाला scene वगैरह, you had just shown a bit of it again 2019 2020 के आसपास. And then from there you started, I think this was your first experience working with a large team also.
Yeah.
So tell us something about that, because I remember you saying that was also an experience of growth for you, finally getting a team on board on a project that you started on your own.
Yeah. So one major thing was like the kind of people I trusted. It was majorly like it was just trust यार. मतलब it was just कि यार तू करके देख, अपन बनाते हैं. So what happened with how I found the editor, Pranav Patil, उसने आफ्टर मूवी एडिट की थी.
Okay.
डायमेंशंस फेस्टिवल. आफ्टर मूवी मतलब पता है वो कॉलेज फेस्टिवल्स होते हैं.
ओह अच्छा अच्छा अच्छा.
तो
ओके.
मल्हार है, सीरियस का मल्हार
जो
है,
YouTube पे जाएगा.
तो वैसा वो सब डांस कर रहे हैं और ईडीएम बज रहा है और सब नाच रहे हैं. कॉलेज का नॉस्टैल्जिया, वो सब वाले फिल्म्स. तो he had edited a after movie. He did not have an experience in documentary editing. But I just kind of messaged him on Instagram. I DM'd him. And I was like, dude, I have this idea. Would you like to be... I'll be involved in the edit, but would you like to edit it yourself? And then he was on board. And there was no expectations of money or anything in return. And it was a very... till like the last 3-4 months of the film, it was a very small crew. Like me, my editor, and there were 2-3 people who were there working. We were just 5 of us. And then eventually once Hardik came on board, he kind of made us realize that no, there are some things you need to realize, that the packaging is also might be important, and how you kind of present it, and the grading, then the studio, then the design, and the mixing. Then I got to know the importance of everything in film and cinema. Then how everything kind of contributes to whatever you are making, and then why good things take time.
Yeah,
then
true.
you need to give it that time. Then if you don't work on it, it's going to वैसे गंदा ही लगेगा.
You can't just say मेरे पास ये idea है, concept है, accept it. Like you have to.
It takes time. So we realized it. Then once Hardik came on board, then we got the sound designer Shubham Ghadge, who is from FTII. We got the mixed final mixing done by Anurag Jadhav, who's also from FTII. So it's also a crew of like, it's also, the crew is also kind of very collegiate in nature,
Huh.
but it's also backed by kind of experienced professionals. So the
Yeah.
title design was done by Vijesh Rajan and Yashoda Parthasarthi and uh, Vrajesh Pithadia, who have worked on Sacred Games title
Yeah.
design. They are like big massive guys.
वो influence दिखता है उसका.
Yeah.
Like that round ring light looks
Correct.
very similar to that
Yeah.
mandala when you mentioned.
Yeah. So then like those kind of things. Then the kind of poster design, we got to know the importance of making a poster and how it is very important because it's the first imprint of your film.
It sets the tone.
Tone
Correct.
of the film, and it sets everything. Like and in today's world, visibility is the thing. Like
हाँ.
if you want to be at least मतलब थोड़ा तो interest generate करना है, तो poster is the thing that's going to be out there first. So Hardik kind of made us realize that what our things are important.
हाँ.
And then there was one of my college friend who was also a Ruya batchmate. So the film is made by Ruya people and Ruya College and FTI people. And then it was a collegiate thing and then supported by experienced people who have kind of good amount of experience. And majorly they kind of made us realize, Hardik kind of made us realize that what is the importance of everything.
Huh. Okay.
Matlab, I
There's so
haven't
many ways in which you can set up a movie, sell a movie,
Yeah.
tell about the movie.
Matlab, we kind of not thought about the selling part when we were making it at all. Now also we don't kind of have an idea of what's going to happen with it. But it was just to make a good indie film, make a decent indie film at least, and then kind of see what happens to it. Because
Selling in the sense, selling to the audience
Yeah.
also. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
that
कि
is-
मैं moment I see a poster I'm like I want to know what
yeah,
the story
what this
is.
is about. So we kind of worked on everything, like the poster design. Me and Sneha Dalal, who's the poster designer, we kind of worked for 40 or 50 days every night for the poster.
Just tweaking that.
Yeah. We used to work on the details, what is required. She came up with 6 to 7 ideas and what idea works for me. And then we kind of figured out and brainstorming it. Every night we used to sit for an hour or so and just talk about stuff, about what the idea. And the experience was quite liberating. I got to know a lot of things about design. And it was just the kind of मतलब मेरे लिए this film was more of a film school because from every मतलब like it was like each stage I was with the film. And it was testing me every time.
And there was always something new to discover around the corner.
Yeah, and there were so many things. I did not know anything. And now also I don't know a lot of things. But it's just that thoda bas credibility aa jata hai. And then you know that like this is the kind of stuff. And I also kind of discovered the kind of people I would want to work with.
Yeah.
That is really important.
Yeah.
And the kind of peer group and the support system and importance of everything. Matlab, one of my major disagreements with Bhadipa and whatever YouTube channels I was working with is that we did not give it time for the color grading process. We did not give it time in the sound, and those things were not there, which was I can understand because it's for a different medium altogether. But one of my major problems was that. And then with this film, then Hardik came up. Then I took the time.
पूरा वाला मेरे को कलर अच्छा चाहिए और साउंड अच्छा चाहिए like जो तेरा बड़ा था वो निकाल गया
मतलब it wasn't अच्छा in that अच्छा वैसा expectation नहीं था. It was just कि like
करके देखना है.
let's try.
Yeah.
I haven't given it time. I haven't given time to these things as of now, so I want to work on them. And then I got to know what you can do in the sound, what you can do in the grading process, and each step was a new discovery for me. And now what the problem with me is now is that the next film or the next things I kind of make is going to set up my expectations higher and higher. And that's the problem.
expectations of the audience.
Not the
No,
audience, of
himself.
making.
अच्छा okay.
Of making it. But then that's also a good thing. Because what happens is, as a filmmaker, you would like to use a lot of different tools that usually go into making a film. No, what as a frame comes on screen has an audio element. Visually, what else can you play with? You're putting in something which has a symbolical reference. You know, in certain cases, people play with Easter eggs. You later on come to know through trivia ki, oh, this was actually the newspaper which this character was carrying. So there are so many small things that you can play with, and sound is such a big thing. Sound and color especially. A lot of different movies, they have helped set the tone or the vibe of the whole film. Like, for example, with the movie Her, which had Joaquin Phoenix. That movie won a lot of awards, and I remember before that when I had seen it, I felt like it was so new because the colors were so different, the
The
way
use
it
of
was
red.
shown, the use of red was so different. And it was like, oh yeah, of course. And sound, because Scarlett Johansson ka
The AI
सिर्फ
is
आवाज
voice,
है. The
yeah.
character, her, it's her voice, you know, and that relationship is based on her voice only, because she's only speaking. So it played such a big role in telling that story. So when you come to know there are different tools that you use to create something, it presents something new also. And it not only helps give you a chance to experiment, it also allows other people to see it and go, oh, maybe I can use the same tools in a very different way and do my own thing. It rubs off on people as well.
Yeah.
I have seen that good work always does. Like it always, it might not do it at a scale that you might want to, or you know, it's not that. But do you actually want your work to be the answer to everything? No, it wants to be the answer to something. Fine, you know, and that is it's not a problem. I understand how it can be a problem, logistically speaking. Yeah.
क्रिएटिवली तो हमारे डिजायर्स बहुत होते हैं.
बहुत होते हैं, but yeah, logistically I get.
Eventually everything I guess boils down to तू तेरी औकात देख.
Yeah.
yeah. How can you make?
हाँ, मगर वो औकात सेटअप करने में भी अगर कुछ काम अच्छा निकल गया ना तो मजा आता है.
Yeah.
Like one thing that I was surprised with when it comes to 15 seconds a lifetime is the fact that documentary genre needs a clarity of structure. Our generation is probably the last of the generations to feel weird about a selfie. You know what I mean? It's dying, dude. It's going to be very normalized. People are fine with documenting everything they do on social media. And when you saw that, how did it impact your outlook of fame or the idea of celebrity? When you saw this person's desire to be famous, how did your understanding of that concept change, or did you understand something different, new about where this human nature and desire of fame, you know, comes together?
So for me, more of like the fame part was an aspect of kind of exploring.
Yeah.
But it was also the after effects, like I wanted to more of also delve into what happens with the family, like uske baju ke around, matlab like we all know that the people who are there on TikTok, it was quite visible, and it was there that the people who are there on that platform, they want to sense of kind of be validated or kind of have that fame. That if that was out there, that I did not need to show, or wo aa hi jayega film mein. I was not more of interested in that because I knew that was going to come. That was going to be a part of my film. Because that's the nature of TikTok and the world that we are living in.
Yeah.
So I was more of interested in the dynamics of the family, of how they view it.
The fallout, the nuclear fallout of trying to achieve fame.
And the kind of, matlab, like, eventually, my protagonist is trying to be a fit-in.
Yeah.
Okay. And his family is also trying to be a fit-in.
Acha.
But their contexts are very different.
Yeah.
Okay.
My protagonist is trying to be a fit-in in the virtual world, and his parents are trying to be a fit-in in the society.
मतलब घर अच्छा रहना चाहिए.
And how the family is kind of revolving matters, no? How the kind, how like their image is, how their son is, because अगर किसी का बच्चा अगर कुछ अच्छा नहीं कर रहा है या फिर उनके अगेंस्ट जा रहा है, तो एनी टाइम तुम्हारे फैमिली फंक्शंस में इसमें डिस्कशंस होते हैं कि हा बघा याचा मुलगा कसा आहे वगैरे.
Correct.
Those kind of things happen, right? So eventually I kind of find out कि both of them are trying to fit in. It's just that the fitting in is kind of clashing.
Where they want to fit in is different.
And that was, I was very interested in.
Both of their desires are very different. And it's also where how both of them are coming into picture. You know, the friction in terms of, oh, why are you not believing in my desire, and vice versa.
No, they believe in their desires. Till the time their worlds then get conflicted.
The
Like,
moment that is happening, then
then no.
तेरा desire वैसे मेरा desire पूरा नहीं होएगा क्या? Yeah.
So that was the point. Like I also saw, like, with the family, they were kind of really, like the mother kind of really had her hopes on him.
Acha, to succeed.
Yeah, the protagonist. Until the time he colors his hair.
That is a line drawn by a lot of Indian mothers where, अरे क्या करके आया तू? ये क्या किया तू बाल को तेरा सर को?
So जब तक तू फिट मतलब जब तक तू मेरे इसमें कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं आ रहा तू कर तेरे को जो करना.
हाँ.
But when like people start asking me, that time the problem arises.
I have to answer other people's question about your hair when I'm not even involved in the process. I don't even know. Like तेरे को ही likes का hit आ रहा है, मेरे को तो वो भी नहीं मिलता है.
वो तो उसके ऊपर से भी लेती थी उसकी. कि काय तुला काय येत नाही, उगाच करत बसतोस वगैरह वगैरह. So that all is a part of the film. But what was majorly I realized is that this film is kind of also a parasite kind of a film. Like Parasite kind of really devised into me like there are desires in every family and specifically a lower middle class family in their unke desires kya honge. But Parasite where the matlab this is the kind of parasite where the family is not harmful.
Okay.
They matlab it's but the setup and the structure is kind of very similar. It's a 4 people family. They have a desire to get over it and they see the dream of succeeding through their son. And then eventually they succeed or not. That's like the kind of the setup, but it's also based in the contemporary world of social media. It's based in the setup of TikTok and what was happening in India's cultural context. Because TikTok was massive during 2019-20.
Barabar. It just opened doors to
It
people.
was like 200 million users were there.
It's such a big number, dude. 200 million users just in our country. Just
That's a big number
just
of a
from
population,
India.
Yeah.
200 million. You know that number, how many studios will wage a war for? Executives will pick up guns for that number, you know. Star will actually have ninja stars. I need at least like 40 million of this. 200 million is massive.
And that's what also one of my entry points was also कि ये ऐसा क्या है इस ऐप में इसके एल्गोरिदम में कि इतने लोग जा रहे हैं. बट देन आई काइंड ऑफ डिवाइज्ड इट इज दैट one of the major points I missed in was my entry point was also art and privilege. Like I kind of have entered into ki like the kind of worldview I have, the kind of family setup I come from, the kind of privilege I have. Therefore मेरा art एक वैसे particular point of view से होगा.
My taste, everything is set up by my circumstances.
And वही मयूर का जो मेरा protagonist है उसका उसके वजह से क्या होगा. And there was this debate of whether like मतलब TikTok creators were considered cringe on every other platform.
Looked down upon.
But then I kind of wanted to just understand like are they really making cringe content and also showing cringe content with a kind of human side. Like they know they are doing cringe. ऐसा नहीं कि उनको पता नहीं कि वो लोग cringe नहीं कर रहे.
They are also figuring out.
हाँ.
Like वो I remember since you mentioned art and privilege, I remember when this whole debate was happening and there was this YouTube versus TikTok thing happening 2019 only. I remember
2020. This happened in 2020.
This happened in 2020. Okay.
During the lockdown, this kind of started to.
Acha. हाँ, तो people were vela, so of course they would have this war. But I remember when TikTok was getting this reputation of a cringe platform and all. I remember there's this comedian and comedy writer called Dhruv Deshpande. He had a very funny tweet where he said the reason why people are calling TikTok cringe is because they've never heard poor people express themselves before. Like it was the first means of creating art without any boundaries. Like, you know, तेरे को what like YouTube gave for filmmakers कि तू कुछ भी बना के shoot करके और like a smartphone camera gave to everyone around कि कुछ भी shoot करके edit करके डाल सकता है. That is what TikTok gave to, and that's why the tier 2, tier 3 cities का acceptance and what.
And also the fact that who are we to call that content cringe?
Exactly.
Even if we call that content cringe, we are the ones who are consuming it and we enjoy it. So who the hell are we to call it cringe?
There is a hypocritical take on that.
And that was also one of the entry points. And what you said was TikTok had उतना reach इसका उतना था. It's because of the AI interface that was there.
Okay.
Because it used to feed like जो reels ने ढापा वो TikTok था.
बराबर.
And therefore it was because it was accessible, because it was easy to use, it kind of became the app that it was. And one of the major revelations or the research during after lockdown, I was also planning to shoot someone else in the 2 or 3 tier city, and his name was Suraj Sawan. He's a TikToker in Baramati and he got massive famous.
Oh, okay.
Have you seen Guligat?
I think
Guligat,
yeah.
Bandage Band, ऐसे सब
हाँ,
बोलता है वो.
yeah.
Okay.
He was a part of the collage in your
He's
movie
there
as
in the
well.
film as well.
Okay.
So I was going to actually kind of document him. It did not work out eventually due to some logistical reasons, and we did not have the resources.
Okay.
But when I was researching, I got to know that वो अनाथ था. He did not have parents, and he did not have a house, and his nephew kind of taught him to use TikTok.
Oh.
And then
Okay.
he used TikTok and he became the star he was. And
Okay.
then why do other people have problems of him becoming a star just because you can't?
Yeah, true.
Matlab, like I was very interested in, like, now they have a voice, so what's the problem?
हाँ. It was a weird conversation always. कि, you know, like TikTok बंद होना चाहिए and all that. Like when it got cancelled also, people were like, अरे good, it's a cesspool of content. वो type का ये था. जो in a way YouTube भी था बहुत साल पहले.
मतलब YouTube पे ऐसा नहीं कि YouTube पे वैसा content नहीं आता.
हाँ.
आता ही है.
It's almost like the human. It reflects upon a very intrinsic part of human nature that you want to be the lowest strata of, and everything else that exists should be better in the world. You do not want to experience something that is in your head, circumstantially lower, because you are not able to process, because you don't want to, in your head, you don't want that to exist even, because you are always looking up all the time, you always want to be better.
I think
like, so
there is a pleasure in hate watching also, no?
There is I'm not denying that, but that is there in a lot of different things. This hate watch is of course there. I'm not saying one or the other. What I'm saying is, when it comes to TikTok and the way it ended up creating the idea of ki, oh no, point and call it cringe, is because people did not take into account that the reference points that you have for things in your head is very different than the reference points that these guys have in their head. तू by chance Jurassic Park देखा है, Quentin Tarantino का movie देखा है, तू Eminem का गाना सुन रहा है, ये सुन रहा है, तेरा world view अलग रहेगा bro. Cause तेरा दिमाग में जो कुछ information गया है to process things about the world is very different, compared to somebody else who's coming from a poor place. They will not have the exposure that you have had to Charles Dickens and whatnot. नहीं होएगा bro. कैसा तू expect कर रहा है? और फिर तेरा expectation में किधर तो वो कि ये दुनिया में क्यों है? मेरे को ignore करने देना ये. आसान कर मेरे को ignore करने को कि ये है दुनिया में. That is what you want. That was the reason for celebration. कि oh yeah, अच्छा हो गया, it's not there. I don't have to be assaulted by it. Because how can it exist? Because everybody tries to make the world very small. I feel. Like, dude, it's very big. There are cannibals in this world as we speak. As we are recording this podcast.
Are you one of them?
No. I got an invitation. I was like, no.
ये कैसे दोस्त यार जो invite कर रहे हैं तुझे?
RSVP भी करने को बोलता है. देख कम है अपने पास. तू
उस हिसाब से पकड़ना पड़ेगा.
ज़्यादा लोग आ रहे तो कोई बड़ा ढूंढना पड़ेगा, dude. And that is what makes it interesting. That is what made social media interesting, because it is changing a lot, and the future is also looking very different for it now, where avatars are going to matter more than anything else. I came across this article which was talking about gamers, who are now being called athletes.
Okay.
So gamers
E-sports
who are playing
athletes.
competitions, they're called e-sport athletes. I'm like, how is that? I understand they're playing, but everything that is physically has to be done is being done by the avatar, the digital avatar, and there will be only this much time, I feel, before that starts gaining more prominence.
It has, I guess.
It has, in a way. That was what Instagram was, right? A lot of people said the filters, the changing of reality. You are changing your reality, putting masks over it, and then representing it to the world. Like, hey, look at this. You're not a princess, you have a crown. Because why not? You have so many things that I'll have a cool slow motion walking shot, and I'll share it. Do you think it's ever going to reach a healthy
What?
like a healthy baseline of interacting with social media, or do you think it's gone? Like
It's gone, I guess. मतलब वो बहुत time हो गया ना यार. It's मतलब I don't think it will.
it will
हाँ.
it will always be a warping of like going further and further and further
हाँ.
with it.
मतलब I think पहले भी हमें झगड़ा करने में मजा ही आता था. मतलब like
हाँ, true.
मतलब
Yeah.
like it's just that now it has become virtual and more easier accessible.
Yeah.
You just have more people to fight with.
हाँ.
Yeah.
So you'll have fun. मतलब most of the people are doing that.
And the point is that your opinions, you are getting a chance to document them and share it. Or whatever, you're fighting over something, a stance you've taken, whatever it is. It's being documented. Pahila kya tha? You did not have a way of documenting and sharing it. Now it's almost like everybody has megaphones.
Yeah, yeah. And the thing is, you know, what everything has circulated to is that पहले मतलब जब ये सब नहीं था तभी भी लोगों का ओपिनियन मतलब उनके माइंडसेट में यही था कि सबको जानना है कि नो यू मैटर, नो यू मैटर.
Okay.
बट व्हाट सोशल मीडिया हैज गिवन दैट कि यस यू मैटर. द काइंड ऑफ मतलब वो 1% भी एक फॉलोअर ने भी बोल दिया कि नहीं यार ये क्या फोटो है यार, ये मस्त है. तो दैट काइंड ऑफ सेंस ऑफ मतलब दैट हैज काइंड ऑफ बिल्ड अपॉन conversations and like that has kind of matlab now everyone matlab the overall onset of social media it's bringing into matlab ki you matter.
हाँ,
Yeah.
वो तेरे को डोर स्टेप पे वैलिडेशन दे रहे हैं. तेरे
Yeah.
को ढूंढने का जरूरत नहीं है कुछ.
हाँ.
You don't need to build a proper relationship with a person to be like which actually then validates your existence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
कि हाँ मेरा किधर तो जरूरत है, मैं कुछ जाएगा तो काम होएगा वगैरह.
कुछ worth है.
हाँ, like when I'm absent तो कुछ things stop. Like वो जो feeling है, it's a little selfish feeling, but like that is what defines
Yeah.
people's feeling that my absence is felt. तो वो चीज I think social media just gives you directly.
Yeah, and even we matlab I won't disagree with all of us as well. Matlab even we are in somewhat way.
Yeah, of course. And it's psychologically rewiring you to, because the way the symbols they use, all of that is very interesting.
Yeah.
Like on Instagram,
colours.
the colors, like the like is a heart. Like, oh, heart, I got so many, like 7,000 hearts. Oh my god. Like it's a weird game thing that it makes you but it's not
the very fact that they removed the unlike button, you know, thumbs down button, unlike
Oh,
button.
yes.
Like
Yeah.
if you look at every
Instagram पे था नहीं मतलब
Instagram
okay in
नहीं,
general.
Facebook पे था.
Yeah.
Like but the very fact कि you look at any interface, there is you can never give a negative interaction to anyone. Like comments रहेगा,
comment
comments पे
करूँगा.
because that is
comments में तो सब है राजा.
comments है.
Comments
But
में
like-
तो Hoover Dam of negativity खुलता है.
हाँ, but like you'll have to dive in this ना. Like there is no way of telling that I disagree with this. तो तेरे को on face value तो disagreement मिलेगा ही नहीं. Like you know, so automatically तेरे को it's like sugar. तेरे को दे ही रहा है. You'll never feel sick of it.
Yeah.
But I feel like like this is a theory कि the आगे का generation will just adapt to this because they'll grow up with it. So they'll be able to at least to some extent see through the bullshit. Like the AI will have to become more smarter to fool them.
But the biology is the same.
I don't
no?
think so. They are
नहीं जैसा for example
हाँ.
TV does not work for us in the same way that it used to work for my grandparents.
okay.
Like my grandparents का experience with TV is like उनका दिमाग उड़ जाता था. But for me it was like it was a thing for them, dude. It was crazy. Like I remember एक क्या अपना anime वगैरह जब चालू हो गया, it was so much. Like I know there are cartoons that used to scare my grandfather because the animation was so realistic. You know, like he used to tell
Dragon Ball.
yeah, actually, like Dragon Ball Z and all the explosions and all used to like it used to affect him. He could not take it. Like it was that way. ये क्या है मेरे को समझ में नहीं आ रहा है. तो I feel like something similar will happen. कि अभी जो generation आ रहा है, especially with like the conversations and all कि अरे ये part है social media का जिससे तेरे को ऐसा fool कर रहा है. तो just the like they'll have a different conversation of कि कोई अगर टॉफी देगा तो like what used to be told to us, कोई तेरे को अगर चॉकलेट वगैरह देगा तो उसके साथ जाने का नहीं. They'll have similar conversations of that on social media कि अच्छा कोई
No, but what I disagree is like that with TV it was one way.
true.
With
That's
social
also
media
there.
that's not the case.
Yeah, it's everything.
That's also there.
And therefore like I don't think that might happen, but if it happens then it's good.
I hope it is. That's a theory.
Through years of making this film, Divya has peeked behind the curtain and he's turned around horrified and said, "अरे मजा नहीं आ रहा."
सब account delete करो.
मतलब because अभी तो I was just teaching some kids in a school and I kind of saw their मतलब what their lives might be just for 10-15 days and they shared their things whatever they were comfortable sharing with and therefore I मतलब इसके लिए मैं I said कि that I don't think that will happen.
अच्छा. What was this? You this is news to me. You were teaching some kids in a school.
Yeah.
बताइए इसके बारे में.
So I was basically called by a friend of mine and he was like कि तेरा ऐसा फिल्म का ये हुआ है तो could you take a basic filmmaking workshop for school kids?
अच्छा.
And I'm like, okay, cool, I'll do it. And it was for an international school. So it was
Fancy.
summer camp kind of a thing and it was paying me decent amount.
अरे yes.
So I was like,
that is the next question I was going to
why not? अब independent film बनाने हैं, तुम्हें रगड़ना है, कोई producer पैसे नहीं दे रहा है, तो खुद से पैसे लगाने हैं तो करना पड़ेगा. So I started doing it and when I started to, मतलब just I was kind of sharing that knowledge with them. That time I realized that उनका वर्ल्ड उससे ही रिवॉल्व्ड है सो हाउ विल दे इवन काइंड ऑफ प्रेडिक्ट लाइक वट एवर यू सेड की द वट एवर प्रॉब्लम्स और द फैसिनेटिंग एस्पेक्ट्स आर देयर विच यू डोंट फाइंड उनको लगेगा ही वो फैसिनेटिंग मतलब आई एटलीस्ट सॉ बट आई होप दैट इट डजंट बट इन द जो लोग आने वाले हैं they are definitely going to be easily
their introduction to a person is 90% on social media.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So their world is going to be so and majorly it's the thing with social media is it's two way no like it's TV one way था तो तुम reciprocate भी करे तो जवाब आएगा ही नहीं तो क्या तुम खत लिखोगे तो इसमें आ रहा है ना खत लिख रहा है कोई
बराबर
तो उसके लिए फिर I think it's you are going to मतलब we are all have fallen into the traps of this world.
Yes, Noel.
I don't know, I'm just optimistic man.
Quicksand में फंस के अरे नहीं रे मेरे को तो नहीं लग रहा है ऐसा कि quicksand में है अपन.
We just have to agree.
Yeah. कि do that.
Compliance.
और क्योंकि वो reality is being exchanged ना. The actual reality is being exchanged with online reality and if your food and everything is now available through a screen तो फिर दुनिया देख के क्या करेगा ब्रो
दुनिया तो कलर ग्रेडेड भी नहीं है
उस पे कोई ये भी नहीं डाला है
बहुत सही लाइन है यार
उस पे कोई पैसा भी खर्चा नहीं किया है
I'm just wondering now how many actors and actresses look better क्योंकि कलर ग्रेडिंग अच्छा है when I meet them in real life it will be such a letdown.
नहीं VFX अच्छा होता है.
Yeah.
उसके लिए VFX रखता है. Oh my god.
So you know like I have heard things about these things happening that कोई एक्टर का अगर पिंपल दिख रहा है तो वो सब निकाल देते हैं क्लियर करते हैं पूरा.
Oh अच्छा. Like for that
beauty is of course made.
For short मतलब अगर क्लोजअप में तेरा कुछ दिख रहा है तो VFX में वो हटा देंगे. वो VFX करा के.
I think VFX artists ना before removing it they take a screenshot and keep it. For themselves.
वो तो फ्यूचर
कि इसने मेरी जिंदगी में कुछ खराब किया तो इसकी मैं मारूंगा ये ऑनलाइन
that is portfolio that's resume
yeah that is resume
देखो मैंने निकाला
I made this person look without pimple free dude I made
before after
what are you saying easily I get a job you know when he goes home and his wife or girlfriend is like dude I'm such a big fan of oh really you think he looks better than your husband look at this you know he's just ready to show and vice versa you know like if it's a lady she's like oh you think Katrina looks beautiful see this
आपको चाहिए किसका चाहिए सलमान खान शाहरुख खान शाहिद कपूर किसका चाहिए बताइए मैं सब
I think with age the amount of money that you have to spend on VFX also just goes up you know where the VFX artist is like 60-year-old को कम दिखाने का तो ज्यादा लगेगा dude अरे इतना काम करना पड़ेगा डिटेल में जाके हर एक रिंकल स्मूदन आउट ऐसा पूरा नहीं कर सकता है
इसके लिए तो शाहरुख अभी कम पिक्चर कर रहा है जो
पोस्ट प्रोडक्शन ज्यादा
खर्चा है यार उसमें
I'm just imagining Shah Rukh to just be like air when he walks by. Like he's just he smokes so much that he's just a wisp of like, you know, when you take a drag and go, that is Shah Rukh. He just went by.
If Shah Rukh is a ninja, na, that's how he disappears. He
Yeah.
takes a drag.
That is his version of a smoke bomb.
But I've really heard good things about him. Like
Yeah, even I.
He has really helped. Matlab, one of my the films, the producer's film, Kamyab, it wasn't getting a release. But
Okay.
but kind of Shah Rukh Khan came on board as the film presenter and kind of gave it the presence the film has now. So that's really helpful, because it was not apparently going to get released, or there was some problems in the distribution, which I also don't have a clear idea about. But he told me that Shah Rukh kind of came on
Helped
board and
him out.
helped him, and that's really really kind of wise and nice of him.
Yeah, it's pretty big. That's also very fascinating for me, because whenever it reaches that level of fame and power and credibility, it's almost like Shah Rukh is like a rain cloud. ऐसा थोड़ा पानी छिड़कता है मैं, yes, अरे क्या हुआ, तुम लोग का नहीं रिलीज हो रहा है, yeah, and it honestly did not make that big of a difference to him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm saying it in terms of scale of his influence.
Yeah.
It's so massive that he can change fates of movies, and to become that big of an entity is just, you have a gravitational field of yourself as a celebrity, You're making so many things work just because you exist. It's a scary thought, right? When you think about it. Like,
yeah, that's why you like humility in stars. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, हाँ.
He's in control.
Yeah, meteoroid नहीं है बाबा कि आके सीधा डिश आराम से बात कर रहा है वगैरह.
Hilly's comment है, अच्छा दिखता है. आके जाएगा.
Star.
You can wish on it and something will come true.
Yeah.
And I've heard like many things, like stories about him. Like usually actors, after they become big, they usually don't give mark. Matlab, whenever you are shooting, so mark is basically a position you have to come and stand. So because it's a technical medium.
Correct.
Okay? So you have to kind of come over there and you have to kind of stand somewhere and just give your mark. So Shah Rukh usually gives his mark.
The boring part of the work.
Yeah, and also I've heard that he's one actor. Like recently I was at a shoot and the lightmen and the camera people were working on Shah Rukh's film. They had worked on Zero.
Okay.
So he's like, if you give him a mark, he'll come and step on that exact point. That's the kind of efficiency.
Camera का
yeah,
इसके सामने,
no move. मतलब सब camera setup हो गए हैं. And if there's a mark given to Shah Rukh, he'll come and directly come at that point, and that वही moment पे होएगा. Because I know how difficult it is. It's very difficult to do.
To get an actor to do that.
Yeah, and he comes at the exact spot of where it is required. So that's the kind of efficiency, and therefore it's like therefore the career is kind of sustained for a longer period of time.
Makes sense.
The sort of movies that you want to make, it would be pretty exciting for you, right? That at this age you have gotten this experience of 15 seconds a lifetime under your belt. So now you're looking forward to dabbling in fiction ever, because that was a documentary.
Yeah.
Because those are very distinctly different things to do.
Yeah.
So as a filmmaker, are you interested in that?
Yeah. Basically, so देखो मेरे को one thing I've kept in mind is I don't want to limit myself to something. Like if I'll do non-fiction, I'll do non-fiction. If I want to get into fiction, I'll do fiction work, because I am kind of developing some ideas. But like it's not something I see कि ये non-fiction है, ये fiction है.
Correct.
It's eventually at the end of the day creation only.
Correct.
So it doesn't matter to me if it's non-fiction or fiction.
Yeah. Because I, sorry to interrupt you, because I saw narrative, very good narrative nuances in the way you shot and told this story in the documentary as well. 15 Seconds a Lifetime has a very clear-cut narration happening through multiple different scenarios, and the camera angles, all of that ended up making it very interesting, like the barbershop scene and the camera angles used over there. It made the whole movie pretty interesting. So I do agree with the fact that both merge and help each other out. The experience is never singular in that manner. कि अरे मैं documentary में काम किया तो अभी fiction का. It's never that. And it would be pretty interesting to see a fictional work from you.
I am excited, but the pressure of writing is difficult. But I am kind of exploring some ideas. And let's see. I look, as long as I get to create, I'm happy.
Yeah.
As long as I get to create anything, I'm happy.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's fiction or non-fiction. As long as someone gives me the money to make it, and I get to do it with the resources I would want and with the team I would want, I am very happy.
That is
कुछ भी हो सके.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck about like it's it's
What?
into some particular category.
Correct.
And that's what I want to do as well, is like I want to test myself every time,
Yeah.
because at every moment you just want to try and do something better or
Yeah.
experiment with the medium as well sometimes.
Yeah.
And I've realized is that you eventually, once you start growing up and once the responsibilities of life come and वो सब होने लग जाता है, तो then you kind of are afraid of doing some experiments.
Yeah.
Risk taking becomes
कम हो जाता है. And I've seen that. So I want to take risk as well as do some experiments till I'm like till 30s वगैरह सब जो कुछ भी करना है करके, और जितना हगना है हग दो.
Yeah.
Then eventually तो pressure आने ही वाला है.
Yeah.
But I just want to experiment, try my stuff at a lot of stuff and just be into creating. That's what I see.
सब चखने का देखो basically अभी टाइम है पूरा मेन्यू कार्ड में ये सब चखने का, which makes sense too. Why would you want to limit yourself to something?
And both forms are very interesting for me. Like in fiction, you write something and then you do it with a altogether bigger team and you share your vision and kind of. Matlab, I've done fiction work. It's not something, but I've not done a longer format fiction work. So, but the thing with that is, I want to bring in the human aspect or the instinctive aspect of documentary filmmaking towards fiction filmmaking. Like that's what also interests me, and therefore I also feel like documentary kind of trains you to make a fiction film. Like I kind of now know what not to do with my newer projects or the problems that might arise at a first production. So those kind of problems, I've noted them down and I'm kind of figuring it out. And I just want to see how much money do I have, how many people do I have at my stake, because it's also a collaborative medium. I have to kind of understand that it's collaborative at the end. It's not me only, the filmmaker, who's making it. It's a team. So I am taking whatever I've learned from non-fiction, I'll put it into fiction. And also non-fiction का fun ये है कि it's very instinctive. मतलब you have to be on your toes. You can't. मतलब fiction में कभी कभार ऐसे हो जाता है कि if you have written something, then you kind of have a note of what will happen at least.
Correct.
With non-fiction, that's not the case. You don't know what's going to be the end. And that's the insecurity.
At a drop of a hat, you need to know where to point the camera.
Yeah.
कुछ और हो रहा है यहाँ पे, I need to capture that.
Yeah. So that's very interesting as a मतलब medium for me in non-fiction, and it keeps you on your toes throughout. मतलब in every process, like in right from the prep to the production to the editing phase. Because sometimes in fiction, what happens is you kind of have an idea of the film. In the edit, you don't have much of a leeway to play with it. मतलब होता है, definitely होता है. But non-fiction में you can do, मतलब with my new film, I have like made 5 to 6 cuts, and all of them are very different cuts from each other. So I have that space, I have that space to kind of, and time to experiment with these things.
You were saying something, I remember, of like you sort of search the story within whatever you have shot.
Yeah.
ऐसा कुछ बोल रहा था.
Yeah. So once you have shot a documentary, you come on the edit table, and it's almost like writing a script. It's very similar to writing a script. Like I do my documentary filmmaking ka editing for 15 seconds. We wrote it as a script eventually in the edit process.
कि इसके बाद ये आएगा.
Then you kind of devise it. So this works, this doesn't work. And then eventually, मतलब वो mapping करते हैं ना, similar process we applied. So I very much feel कि documentary editing is very much to like screenwriting. Like it's lonely. It's a 2 or 3 maximum लोगों का process होता है. And then you just have to kind of trial and error, similar to what you do with writing.
Redraft.
Yeah.
What if he edited like this? What if, how does it tell the story better? Maybe it gives it more. Yeah.
And you just have to stay at it. That's the end. Like a documentary is a lot, because it's also that life is happening, no? मतलब documentary में तुम जिसको चुन रहे हो, जिसके साथ तुम काम कर रहे हो, उनकी life actual में हो रही है.
Yeah, it's not acted.
And it takes time. In cinema, in fiction, you can compress time. In documentaries, you can compress time later, but when you're filming it, time is actually as a concept happening in real time.
Yeah. So you have to compress so much of.
मतलब मुझे अगर वो मतलब फिक्शन में एक सिंपल एग्जांपल है कि फिक्शन में मुझे एक आदमी में बदल दिखाना है तो मैं एक दिन एक शूट कर सकता हूँ, दूसरे दिन उसका बदल इजीली दिखा सकता हूँ, बट मैं ये डॉक्यूमेंट्री में कैसे दिखाऊँ? ये हो ही नहीं सकता क्योंकि एक दिन में बदल हो रहा है, वो शायद एक साल बाद उसमें, तो आई हैव टू कीप ऑन डॉक्यूमेंटिंग हिम
बराबर
फॉर द
it's almost like you'll need one point to jump from one place to another, and if you don't find that point then you can't justify that jump.
No.
वैसा वाला.
So it's like that. These are the kind of limitations, the possibilities of the medium, and what you can do. And I would just want to try and experiment. Let's see. मतलब मैं अभी ये बोल के रख रहा हूँ ताकि फिर मैं अभी कभी अगर नहीं करूँ तो this is a gentle reminder.
ना वापस.
क्या तू बोला था ये एपिसोड में?
पिछला एपिसोड देखते चल, reacting to previous दिव्या खरनारे episode.
This was me when I become a sold out director.
I remember you saying like the last time when we met also, you used the exact word कि like पता नहीं मैं अभी कुछ ये कर रहा हूँ पर maybe I'll become a sellout also later on, which is like, why is that fear coming in your head?
No, that's there. No, how much like how can you
much?
like eventually sometimes like मतलब यार तुम्हारे I also agree with the fact that as an artist वगैरह आर्ट वगैरह सब है, हाँ, but at the end तुम इंसान भी हो, तुम्हारे भी कुछ मतलब you have
needs
some
वगैरह कुछ
needs and
रहेगा,
wants
okay.
in life.
हाँ.
So I feel कि अगर 30 में मुझे 30 के बाद ऐसा लगे कि मुझे कमर्शियली करना है तो मैं कर दूंगा. I wouldn't be afraid
it's
or
from that
ashamed
way.
of that.
Okay,
yeah. I'll do it. But it's also like fun, no, to kind of observe a journey of a filmmaker who starts with that indie spirit of no, this is how you make a film.
Yes, Ram Gopal Verma.
And then eventually you kind of realize कि no यार dude, अरे यहाँ वहाँ से shot ले लेते हैं यार, हाँ ठीक है वहाँ से ले लेंगे, हाँ ठीक है ले लेते हैं यार, हाँ चलो तुम कर लो acting. So you might as well, and that's the fun of life as well. तो तुम मतलब वो journey जो है कि तुम देख रहे हो कि एक टाइम पे तुम्हारा इतना spirited थे, and then that kind of just vanished away just because of money. So
and now you're trying something else.
हाँ.
And on that day there will be another guy with one small camera taking a documentary of Divya.
My point is I'll never be embarrassed about the things I do.
Oh, that's a great way to live.
Yeah. तो मतलब अगर मैं करूँगा कमर्शियल तो I'll do it with 100% intent. मतलब मुझे पता होगा कि ये करना है, इसका इंटेंट ये है, तो तुमको पैसा कमाना है तो पैसा कमाने का इंटेंट से ही मैं बनाऊंगा फिल्म. So that is very clear for me.
And then that honesty will also show.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, Rohit Shetty movies, even though like you know, not a big fan of it, but you can just see that he's sticking to his guns. जितना भी बोल उसका authenticity और
literally sticking to his guns.
Actually मतलब the thing is I love what about his कि वो pretentious नहीं है.
हाँ.
उसके interviews तुम देखोगे तो बहुत honest है.
Yes.
He knows what he's doing. And he has everything clear. So therefore I like मतलब the intent is also very clear, no, कि यार उसको पता है वो क्या कर रहा है.
I'm not out there to make anything else. मैं तुमको promise नहीं किया और कुछ. मैं रोहित शेट्टी universe.
मैं path breaking सिनेमा बनाने नहीं आया.
बराबर.
उसने बोल के रखा है, and he's very honest about it. So that's what I like, and that's what I would also want to be. Is something really honest.
Yeah. It's almost like when I used to watch his interviews also, it was like I don't like any of his movies that he has done, but I was still like if I get a chance to work with him, just for the experience, I may say yes.
Yeah, and the money.
Yeah, money. Okay. Damn, dude. I think production has just changed your point of view.
No, it's legit.
Legit
honest also,
cheese.
like,
Yeah.
It's true.
Like don't say that, dude. You know,
No, he's mentioned
Rohit
it
Shetty
multiple
sees
times.
this and then he pays you 10 rupees to work on a draft. Don't say that.
No, I
You
may
can charge
probably
him.
not say yes.
You can charge him. You definitely charge him more, dude.
The
It's not an
money, the
issue.
luxury, the kind of things that come with it.
Yeah.
It's really nice. मतलब you kind of enjoy it, यार. तो
Oh, definitely. Okay.
And it's a part of your life. Like it's not like you're going to live in his vanity forever. But it's going to be like, अरे
2 साल के लिए मैंने 2 साल के लिए ब्रेकफास्ट इंग्लिश रेस्टोरेंट में किया. सुबह रोज अंडा खाया, उस पे कोथिंबीर था थोड़ा सा.
इसका राइटिंग रूम हमेशा ताज का कोई तो इसमें चलता है.
फिर जाकिर हुसैन is playing tabla.
कॉन्सेप्ट चल रहा है.
And you give Zakir Hussain the review. What आज?
वाह ताज. चाय का प्याले के साथ. The last part was very revealing for me. Yeah, because I can see how what was the starting setup and influence and whatnot for Divya to grow up the way he did. It's very interesting to see that, dude. I'm so happy that you came.
There's one
bol na.
recommendation I'd like to do.
Yes.
So there's this film I kind of watched yesterday.
Yeah.
It's called Ghode ko jalebi khilane le jia raha hoon.
Okay.
It's made by a senior citizen.
Yeah.
She's a theater. She has done a lot of theater shows and plays. And her name is Anamika Haksar.
Okay.
The film is really, really interesting. It's an experimental film. I would just like to keep, I just watched it yesterday and it kind of triggered and gave me an inspiration. Like, why do you fight for your films? Why you should always, like, the kind of spirit now you're seeing in me, that some days wo nikal jata hai. But yesterday I watched it. She had come over after the screening. She was wishing everyone and she was telling ki thank you so much. It means a lot to me. Everyone's just wishing her. And then a boy came who was a film school student, I guess. And he was like, ki, ma'am, you have been an inspiration. And then she was like, ki, no, you are the next generation to make films. So please keep on fighting. It's a long fight, but you'll have to be at it. You'll have to fight for it. Prithviraj, the film with Akshay Kumar, is now out of shows. But our film is there and people are watching it. So I would really like to say that most of y'all who's watching this, please go and watch Ghode ko jalebi khilane le jia raha hoon by Anamika Haksar in theaters. It might go off in a week or somewhat there. But it's being distributed and it's a great achievement for indie films to be there and people are watching it. So that's the main thing. And it's an engaging watch as well. So मतलब कोई भी जाके देख सकता है. So I would really like and
damn, dude, check it out, people.
Yeah, and that kind of really inspired me to like you have to मतलब some days you feel ना कि यार क्यों कर रहे हैं अभी ये सब थक गए
होने वाला है नहीं होने वाला है.
But then those kind of films and the spirit that I kind of saw in her, the way she told about, that was just inspiring, dude.
Yeah.
So I would really like to recommend that film.
Damn, that's a good watch in case you are running low on inspiration. In case you're thinking that, oh man, like, how sort of a nice, like, time, how much time it takes to make a nice movie and whatnot. You'll be able to really appreciate that. And they can watch it in theaters now?
Yeah, they can watch it in theaters and like it might run till a week more or like these are the 4 or 5 days or... But if they don't get to watch it, kahin mil jaye to sahi hai. But it's a film that one shouldn't miss. And the kind of support and the kind of the way it was made, it's made by it's a self-funded film, and the way it has been distributed is also very interesting. The film's journey is quite interesting. It took 7 years to make the film. So and it's in the streets of old Delhi. And it's about एक luggage pick करने वाला, एक pick pocket and एक एक जो street vendor पे जो खाना बेचता है वो सब करने वाला and एक tourist guide जो सबको old Delhi के streets पे लेके जाता है. It's a story and a documentation of their lives, but it's mixed with, it's more of a hybrid cinema के इसमें बोल सकते हैं. मतलब it's a animation भी है, but part VFX animation, part documentation and part fiction. But it's very well done and you won't even believe कि कैसे ये performances निकाले गए हैं. And you won't, मतलब समझता ही नहीं कि how someone might have taken those kind of performances.
Damn.
So it's really, really good. And मतलब if some people can just watch it, please go and watch it because this type of films then need support. It was made in 2018. It took 4 years to release the film.
Yeah, it takes time, man. Sometimes some projects, they see such a long journey. But the final product, when you see, you're like, it was worth it. The long journey, it's worth it. It's fine. It came out well. It's looking good. And I hope like movies like these, they get a second gust of wind in terms of OTT releases also.
But now OTTs also are not buying indie films. Honestly, they are more into those studios. It's the truth. They are not buying indie stuff now. It's very difficult.
Damn.
And
that's sad.
It's the reality. You'll have to face it.
Because OTTs were meant to be the answer to that. Ki bhai, this will be where new age filmmakers will be able to show their work, and it's an avenue apart from the normal theater circle for your product to be put out.
But now that is also kind of going away because of
it's becoming mainstream.
Algorithm and everything is driven by analytics. सब कुछ वो हो ही रहा है.
एल्गोरिदम ही सब कुछ है रे बाबा. एल्गोरिदम ही सब कुछ है. अपना दुनिया एल्गोरिदम से चलता है.
Moral of the story is कि we are trapped.
Yes.
Agree.
Bow down to the holy algorithm.
Zuckerberg
बाबा, YouTube चे बाबा, सगळ्यांना नमस्कार. That is how it works.
Yeah.
Divya, thanks for coming on this show, man. Thanks for coming on as a guest for this episode. Please do check out his movie whenever it gets distribution and it does come out. Do support his movie on Instagram. Do follow him on Instagram to see what else he's coming up with. And he might have a couple of projects in the works. So keep an eye out for that. I'm very excited to see, that come out. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being with us. Do follow us. Click the subscribe button. Like this episode and share it. That's it. All it takes is a share.
Thank you for having me, guys. It was fun. It was
a great episode.
मजा आ गया मेरे को बात करके. मतलब it doesn't feel like मतलब I did not feel like an interview kind of. It's just quite